Welcome to PA Timber Goose. Today is September 4th. Another lovely Sunday afternoon. And does Bigfoot live in Pennsylvania? Or has Bigfoot lived in Pennsylvania at any time? I really have no opinion either way. I'll share some hunting knowledge with you over the years. There are a lot of things that can spook people, especially if you're not a hunter and you're not used to hearing odd noises in the woods and you have no idea what they are. I spend a lot of time in the woods as a hunter before the sun comes up and after the sun goes down, and we hear a lot of strange noises. If you're an older hunter and you're more experienced, the noises won't startle you as much because you already know what the source is. Nothing unexplained here. Owls can be very vocal. Usually when you hear them, there's two. So one could be on one side of the ridge hooting, and one could be way over here, and they will vocalize back and forth. I'm not sure how many species of owls we have in Pennsylvania, but they do make all kinds of noises. My through night video at St. Anthony's Wilderness, you can hear the owls in the background, and they actually sound like monkeys going back and forth, and in the background we had a coyote howling. So things that make noises in the dark, there's a little road noise back there. I'm not real far off the road. Things that make noises in the woods, I would start with the owls. Owls are very vocal. As far as bird life, after owls I would say crows and ravens. I've heard crows make coyote sounds, howling. I've heard them gobble. Ravens can also mimic animal sounds. They can mimic any kind of animal sound they can hear. Those two birds are very intelligent. What would come after owls, crows, and ravens? I would probably say a coyote. Coyotes make various howling sounds and yipping sounds and barking sounds, and sometimes it can be pretty unnerving if you've never heard coyotes sounding off at night. Their howls and their yips. They have a location call, so if you can hear one call on this side of the mountain and one over here, that's how they communicate back and forth. After that, we have bears. Bears don't make a lot of sound. Bears have a tendency to follow you in the woods. If you're hunting deer and you're sitting in the woods in the dark and a bear catches your scent, they will continuously walk around you, making circles around and around and around. Some of them are very quiet, some of them are very noisy. They have their foot's very large and they have a lot of fur around them, and their foot kind of looks like this on the bottom. So if the leaves are wet, they won't make hardly any noise. But sometimes it does sound like a person going around you, and it's not. It's a bear coming in to check you out. Lots of critters in the woods making lots of noise. A lot of people that hear things in the woods, generally they're not a Bigfoot. My number one candidate would be a bear or a coyote. Bears have a tendency to follow us. I've been stalked by more than one bear down the trail. Sometimes they'll parallel you on the trail. You can hear them, and when you stop, they stop. And this can continue on for miles. I've had that done to me more than one time. They're checking you out. They're trying to smell if you have any food on you. And sometimes that can be alarming if you're not a hunter and you have no idea what that noise is. Something's following me. It sounds like something on 2 feet when it's actually not. Bears are very quiet when they walk. If you follow bear tracks to a soft area, you will not see all 4 feet. All you'll see are the big back feet. So it actually looks like something's walking. It actually looks like a giant footprint walking in the mud. Is it a squatch? It's probably not. It's a bear. On the waterline at Clark's Creek, I actually had a bear follow me one time, and it's pretty soft in there. Most of the weeds were down, and I walked down the pipeline. Early in the morning, I came back in the evening, and I had bear tracks right next to my boot tracks, and it followed me down the pipeline at a distance where I couldn't see it, but it was back there because the footprints told the telltale sign. And I had size 12 pack boots on, and size 12 pack boots are pretty big. I have large feet, so I put my boot right next to the bear track, and the bear track was almost big as that size 12 pack boot. Did it look like a squatch footprint? Yeah, it did, but once again, it's a bear, it's not a squatch. Bear are very curious, and a 700-pound bear with that back foot can make a huge footprint. It could be size 14, size 12. You just never know. Footprints in the mud have a habit of becoming larger. In the mud, it kind of distorts their size so they look larger than they are, especially if they're not fresh. So there would be your number one candidate. in the Pennsylvania woods, it's a bear following you. Bear have been known to stand up on 2 feet, and I've witnessed that more than once. Especially if you're hunting a ridgetop or a ravine, and they're trying to wind you to figure out what you are. They can't see you because their eyesight's not that good. 500-pound bear standing on the hind legs can look pretty scary. It can be 8 to 10 feet tall. And is it a squatch? No, it's still not a squatch. It's a bear standing on his hind legs trying to catch a whiff of scent to try to figure out what you are. And I have seen them walk on 2 legs. Do some black bears have a bad odor? Yes, they do. I've had a couple that actually got so close to me in archery season. I could smell their breath on some of those steamy mornings. They were actually breathing on me. And they were probably this close to my face. One came around a big hemlock I was sitting under, waiting for some deer to walk by on a bench on the side of a ridge. And all of a sudden I seen this big giant nose come out behind a tree. He was about this close breathing on me. And I don't know who was more scared, me or him. And the bear backed up. And I stood up very slowly. And I made some noise. I yelled, "Hey, bear." And I never saw the bear again. He kind of disappeared and ran up over the hill. That was the first face-to-face encounter. Second face-to-face encounter was Clark's Creek. I got in there very early because I had to walk back up on top of the mountain. I like to put my backpack down, put my seat down and take a nap till about an hour before the sun comes up. And I stretched out. And about an hour later I was sound asleep. Something was getting closer and closer, big heavy footsteps, and there's no way it was a deer. Before I knew it, that bear was over top of me, looking at me, a few feet away, breathing on me. Once again, I don't know who was more scared, me or the bear, but Mr. Bear left. So once again, another bear encounter. And do bears have an odor? Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. If you have an older bear, excuse me, if the black bear is older, sometimes they do have an odor. I don't know what a squatch smells like, but sometimes a bear have a very rank odor. Depending upon what kind of dead critter it was eating or what they were rolling in. So if you think you saw a squatch in the Pennsylvania woods, your number one candidate would be a bear. Bears get angry at you. They won't howl, throw rocks, and knock on trees. You'll hear some teeth popping and cracking and some woofing. They call it huffing. And that's how you know the bear's getting agitated. Then it's time to leave the area. Teeth cracking is a sign to leave. If you have one bluff charger and their ears are laying flat, you're in big trouble. You're probably about to get mauled by a bear. So telltale signs that the bear angry: flat ears, teeth popping, woofing or huffing or bluff charges. Okay, sounds in the dark. Sounds in the dark are usually coyote howls or barks. Owls make a lot of weird noises. If you've never heard screech owls or long-eared owls or great horned owls in the woods, they're nothing to be afraid of. The older guys like myself, the seasoned hunters, we know what all the noises are, and there's really nothing that's going to hurt you. I have had some encounters with some very aggressive coyotes. I turned the light on and got ready to shoot if they got any closer. I had a pack of coyotes that were circling me one morning. They were growling and snapping at me, and I was very concerned about that. I pulled out a couple flashlights and lit the whole place up, and they vanished. I didn't see those anymore. I don't know why they were circling me. It was around the end of October, but they were becoming very aggressive. Any large predator can eat a lot of meat every day. I heard that a pack of wolves can kill an elk every week and devour it. A pack of coyotes can eliminate one to two deer a week, and a 120-pound deer can feed 4 or 5 coyotes. So you can imagine how much meat a Bigfoot would eat. He would have to eat something very sustaining. He would have to have a large deer population. So Bigfoot would have to have a very large food source, wild hogs, a heavy deer population, a moose, horses, cows, any type of farm animals, a lot of calories. If you were eating a lot of food like that, you would find large bone piles in the woods. I'm not sure if you would find their scat. They might hide it. I don't see bear scat very often, only once in a while. A lot of times bears are omnivores. They will eat They will eat grass, acorns, twigs, berries, anything they can find. What does a Bigfoot eat? I have no idea. They could be an omnivore like a bear, or they could just be a meat eater. I'm not sure. Next time you hear something follow you in the woods and when you stop, it stops, it's probably a bear. They're just checking you out. Usually they'll walk around you and scent you, see what you are, and then after they figure out you're a person, they usually go the other way. Do I believe there's a Sasquatch in Pennsylvania? It's very possible one passes through once in a while. I'm not really sure. But I think if I run into one somewhere, it might change where I hunt. I don't think I'll hunt in that spot anymore. I've seen a lot of weird things in the woods and heard a lot of weird sounds that made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. Some areas that I hunted were so spooky and dark at night that I made sure that I was up in a tree. I would not sit on the ground whatsoever. Unless I had a firearm with me, and a large caliber firearm at that. It was usually my 45-70. And I felt pretty confident when I had that when I was hunting those creepy areas. Okay, there's some thoughts on Bigfoot in Pennsylvania and odd noises. In my younger days, I have been known to make some Bigfoot sounds in the dark. When I knew there were other backpackers in the area, and we did some Bigfoot howls, and we would knock on trees, throw rocks in the woods, all kinds of crazy stuff. So you never know. A lot of those sounds in the woods could be other people doing that, screwing with the backpackers or the hunters. It's very easy to imitate those sounds. As far as the big footprints you see in the woods, that's probably a bear also. Find some bear tracks in the woods or in the snow and take a look at them. They actually do look like a person's bare foot, but they are not. They are a bear track. I do have some pictures of one, but they didn't come out that great. On my old cell phone, they're kind of grainy. That would be the one that followed me down the Woodard line at Clark's Creek. There are some final thoughts on Bigfoot. The Native Americans have known Bigfoot's always been there. They have many names for him. You can call him a Salve, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, many other names. And he's always been there. So there's some final thoughts on Bigfoot. Okay, thanks for watching PA Timber Ghost today. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Every time I post a new video, you'll see it. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the family. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching PA Timber Ghost.